So Betty, how do you keep your audience engaged?
Well, it depends on the audience that I'm speaking to. If you're speaking to myself when I'm working with clients, the way that we did during the webinar, I don't like to use a lot of slides or presentations. I think that keeping the conversation natural and inviting the participants to actually contribute is the key, because the whole goal is teaching about building better relationships, whether virtually or otherwise. But in reference to, say, a sales professional trying to keep their audience engaged, or a CEO leading a meeting virtually, there are a lot of different tricks that you can do. If you do have to utilize a PowerPoint slide, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all need to present pitch decks or tools or different types of things to potential clients or prospects, understandable. But being that we no longer are in a room with one another, we need to find creative ways to keep people from falling asleep on their keyboards, as I said during the webinar, right? So I think some ideas that we can share are so simple. Just putting in some funny pictures of your pet, or sharing a funny story from your real life about a child or a spouse that might be pertinent to the content that you're sharing, or even just kind of break up the monotony of the technical aspects. Little things like that. And even more importantly, simply understanding that we're all in the same boat on the same sea, and utilizing the real life happenings within that meeting space. If you have a young child come running through on camera saying, "Mommy, mommy, I'm hungry," or naked from the shower, you're not the only one that's had that happen. So kind of bringing it in and recognizing that we're all human.
What principles would you offer in regards to the physical setting, the backgrounds that we use, and so on?
Okay. There's a lot of different things that I would suggest. As you see, I have just a natural setting. This is my home. This is where I work, my home office space. And I just have some photos of my family, some books, and this is what my house looks like on a daily basis. It's not staged. But that's hard. I know a lot of people don't have the opportunity, or people may have a lot of stuff. My preference is a natural background or a solid color with a simple logo. If you'd like to have the logo of your company, that's very important. We know that branding is important, especially when presenting a service or a product. So absolutely, keep a simple logo to the top left corner. You can even tack a solid, brightly colored sheet behind you, or a solid color, black, white, gray, so that you are the one that stands out and not what's behind you. And even what you've done with simply blurring your background, you're the focus on your screen. So those are some pretty simple tips. Keeping yourself well lit, that's very important. Making sure you face a light source, whether it's electric or natural. If you have a window, face the window. Don't have it behind you. Those kinds of things.
Excellent. Thank you. What advice would you give to project a professional image that is also a natural and an approachable one?
I think be yourself. Like I said, we're all human beings being human. And we have to recognize that even though we are slowly returning to a more hybrid environment where a little bit of in-person is coming back, and we can attain that former professionalism that we used to have, we still need to recognize that virtual meeting spaces are here to stay, because they're saving our companies thousands, sometimes even into the millions of dollars on travel expenses, hotels, flights, etc. So dress for the day. Do the things that we discussed. Make sure that your background is professional, that you do have your company logo up, or a simple, neat space like this, so that you're there to be engaged with. It's common sense. We don't want you showing up wearing SpongeBob pajamas, on camera, and hoping to attain a professional image. It takes 7 seconds for somebody to form a first impression of another person. So we need to remember that the first things they see are what they're going to remember.
Thank you. Is there any advice in relation to the maximum amount of time one should spend in front of a virtual meeting or a virtual presentation?
Absolutely. I actually did a post about this on my LinkedIn the other day. I am imploring anyone who is setting up these virtual meetings, regardless of the size of your company, corporation, whatever it is that you're doing, keep these meetings to a maximum of 1 hour, and make sure that if you're scheduling multiple meetings for your team members or your employees, that you're giving them a minimum of a 15-minute break between these meetings. it's hard enough to just sit and focus. And we definitely need that 15 minutes. Seems like not a lot of time, but it's enough time to walk around the block, go to the restroom, get a snack, stretch your body, move into a different space, because the Zoom fatigue is a very real thing. So we need to find a balance to make that a lesser issue.
Thank you. Is there any other tip or advice or suggestion you would offer to those who regularly engage in virtual meetings or presentations?
I think the simplest piece of advice I can give is, and I can't repeat it enough, just be yourself. Be a human being being human. You're not alone. We're all in this new virtual era together, and it's going to evolve and change some more. I posted an article today regarding the new hybrid environment that's bound to come and has already begun, with more people becoming comfortable being in person. So you're going to have to kind of learn to balance, but just keep that level of professionalism. It's no different than being in an office or in person with someone else.
Thank you so much, Betty, and thank you for your insights and for the advice you've given us.